We are in San Diego for another year, preparing for San Diego Comic-Con, this time the 2025 version. The last few years we've been doing these backpack and kind of poster tube type videos. People have seemed to like it. We've kind of been customizing them in a little bit based on feedback each year, and so we want to return to that again this time around. I want to say off the top, as with all of our prep videos for Comic-Con, these are always just kind of sharing our own experiences and the things that work for us. It's never meant to be like this is the end-all list. For new attendees, it might be a fun starting point. We know we hear from a lot of longtime attendees that they just like watch these videos as reminders, or even just part of the like hype of getting ready for Comic-Con, kind of the excitement of the year. So whatever it might be that has you tuning in here, hopefully this will be a fun video for you to check out. So we start out here talking about what we bring. So this is about the size of backpack I bring every year to Comic-Con. Generally speaking, obviously being parks and cons, we do a lot of theme parks and conventions. And so this bag and a lot of the things that are in the bag, this one is a little more customized specifically for conventions, but it's a lot of things we also bring to the theme parks. And also with the bags, I also like having the multiple compartments and things. I like having the side where you can put bottles of water, things like that. But let's talk about some of the things that are in the bag there and how we use some of these compartments here. So always like to have this front flap area here. Now I am big on using baggies. If you've watched these videos in the past or any of the stuff we talked about on the podcast as well, I'm kind of compartmentalizing things and hopefully helping to make things just a little bit easier to grab. We just recently went to Epic Universe for their opening, and it was so nice, like whether it was on the plane and needing to grab something quickly or at the park and knowing like exactly where something was. So for example, I've got my little baggie here of Post-it notes, of extra business cards. I don't have my business card holder or my wallet, some note cards, of course a number of pens, and I always like particularly having those Comic-Con themed pens, Ascension from the old Sci-Fi Cafe. Rest in peace, Sci-Fi Cafe, love that place. For us, we carry our little swag, you know, our cosplay stickers that we give out to some of the cosplayers we see, some of our parks and cons stuff. So if you have any giveaways there, medication, keeping medication, Claritin included in a separate baggie there. This one, some Band-Aids, and I should say, well, actually we'll get to that bag in a second there. And then this one, we've got like Sharpies in here, pens. I don't have any of the safety pins in here right now. I just realized on the drive down here, there's some safety pins, some rubber bands. I've got the Bear FX toothpick holder in there, some tape. We'll get to comic books in a second here, but liking to buy some comics and also get freebie comics at Comic-Con. Sometimes the tape comes in handy of just putting them in bags and boards and sealing them there. So something that I like to kind of keep around there. I also have this baggie in here. We've got things like cough drops and Nauzene and Tums and Aleve D and just a variety of like things. I mean, honestly, it almost never comes in handy that we need those things, but it just likes to be safe. We've had a number of, you know, conventions and park days where we've gotten there and realized, okay, we needed something. These were in the early years of parks and cons, and so we've tried when we're doing these bigger events to be really as self-contained as possible. And I know I've told stories before about like being trapped in Hall H, meaning just having a spot in Hall H, not thinking of staying there the whole day in the early years of Comic-Con for us, and realizing like we didn't bring enough snacks, or we didn't bring enough drinks. So we try to go into each day of Comic-Con with the idea that we could get by this whole day if we never have access to anything else, just this bag. We're gonna have our own power, you know, our power batteries there. Carmel carries her own as well. This one I used to carry two. In fact, when we did this video last year, 2 power banks. This year, just this one's been working really well for long theme park days, lots of videos and things like that. It's worked really well. You may not need quite as big of a battery if you're not doing as much with power as we do, with uploading so many videos and social media and all of those things. But liking to have things, you know, set in one spot. Now also, as we go into it, we're always thinking about using it as kind of this is like our #1 home base with us at the con, and our #2 home base is always the car. And so we're retreating back to the car. We don't stay in the gas lamp, so we're always staying somewhere cheaper on the outskirts of the Comic-Con campus. And so as a result, we're not going to be heading back to the room at any point, so we really need to come prepared. So that could be a whole different video of like how to use the car as a home base, and that's obviously a much smaller audience that's driving down to Comic-Con, but a number of you are driving down to Comic-Con as well. And so there's extras of a lot of these things, especially when we get to things like snacks and drinks and stuff. We keep a lot of waters in the car, for example, or things like that. So that kind of gives you an idea on this part of the bag. Put those things to the side. Now let's get to the upper part here. The only thing carrying there right now, just my earbuds in there, so not much else, but we have another compartment up here that could hold more techie things if we need them there. And then going to the main part of the bag here, Number one, always very important to me, is have a light sweatshirt. The temperatures vary greatly at San Diego Comic-Con in those panel rooms. You may be pretty hot on the floor, and then you make your way into a panel room and it could get quite cold. Also, just the temperature of the con outside. You know, you end up in a line, you know, back in the days of the Funko Fun days, you'd be in the line and be melting, or you might be in the line and be chilly if it gets really overcast or gets, you know, potential for rain or things like that. So always like having a light sweatshirt wherever we go. Also, a really big deal to me always is to have like a light folder that I'm able to keep in there. Now, last year I was talking about getting rid of this folder and actually going with something a little heavier, but in the end, after continuing to work with it, I'm like, no, I really like how soft it is. And it's got some compartments there, some sleeves I should say, where we can put things, QR codes, could put anything. I mean, obviously so much now we keep on our phones. It's unlikely we need to print QR codes, although for parking at the convention center, they actually do ask to have the printed ones. So we'll keep those in here. We might keep menus from some of the local restaurants. Again, things we could look up. But the biggest thing about this that I like is, like, when I'm on the con floor, if I need to slide something in that needs a little bit extra safety, I can use it. Also with that, I always keep like an 8x10 acrylic width, so just kind of an easy, you can order these off of Amazon to have your own. But that way, if something comes in handy where it's swag, whether it's brochures, we keep some comic bags and boards as well. But this type of thing then can slide in this folder, and I found that it stays very well protected in here throughout the day. So yeah, works well. I've used it for over a year. I talked about it in last year's Comic-Con video, and I was like, man, maybe I'm gonna change it to something a little heavier duty, but it's actually worked really well, so just kind of continue to roll with it. Also in the bag, always keep a baggie of napkins. A simple thing there. I like having access to the napkins there. We're gonna come to this bag in a second, but before that, let's talk just snacks and things. The first couple years of doing the backpack videos, we never really talked about snacks or drinks, because it's always just like, well, people bring what they like, and it didn't seem like a whole lot of reason to talk about that. That said, we got a lot of feedback of people saying, well, what do you bring in your snack bags? And so I always keep, again, like a bigger Ziploc bag there, things that are easy to grab, sweets, salties, you know, pistachios, some chips, some cheese and crackers. There's the Nature Valley oatmeal squares, a dips bar, just kind of things that are gonna get by for the day, because there definitely are times at Comic-Con that we've needed to do a meal that way, like out of the bag. It's not common. We really are big on taking breaks to do an actual lunch and actual dinner somewhere. Not that it's gonna be a long, like, sit-down restaurant reservation type thing, but counter service, snack bar, whatever it might be. We do try to do that, but that said, that's not always gonna be the case. Sometimes the lines are gonna be so long and your time is gonna be so short that you're like, I'm just gonna eat something there. Now, in that vein, on the drink side, I mean, obviously it adds to the weight of the bag, but we always keep a couple waters in the bag, and then usually, like, whether it's Gatorade or you know, soda, Powerade, things like that to have in there. Again, on that side, one, it's just for the ease, but two, also the pricing on those. Like, so sometimes we may buy whatever the burger at the snack bar, but then we'll use our own soda, because it diminishes the price a lot. You know, it's not going to be easy to carry around a hamburger in our bag, of course, but it isn't that hard to carry around a soda or a Powerade or water or whatever it might be. So that can be useful in that way. But again, when it comes to food and drink, I mean, obviously you're going to pack what works for you, what makes the most sense. I know we really like the small beef jerky bags that go in there too, and just a variety of those types of things that are just easy, quick eats in case you need them. The big thing with Comic-Con, and we talk about it in other parts of our prep, is you just want to make sure you're in like a good mental state, because it can be very hectic, very stressful at times. So you want to make sure you feel as good as possible, and you know what you need in terms of fuel, like food and drink. Some people are like, you know what, I don't eat or drink anything all day. You know, I start in the morning maybe with something quick, and then at the end of the night, and that's good. Whatever works for you. And also, if you're traveling with a family, you're going to be packing more snacks, of course, more drinks, things, especially for the little ones that are going to need to keep them powered up. But regardless, just having some fuel with you, even if you don't think you need it, seems like a pretty valuable thing. And that's one thing over the years we've gotten a lot of feedback from people on about these types of videos, is really liking that aspect of things. Also, keep a baggie of baggies, just a variety of smaller baggies in there. This can be used then, like, as we get buttons, pins, things like that, to pull out other smaller baggies, and just try to keep things as organized as possible. And then, of course, always having sunblock of some nature there in there, because a lot of times you do end up waiting outside in line. And sometimes, I mean, last year when we did like Ava Fest and FX, like the sun was just like searing. Like it's nice and cool. Like today we're down here in San Diego, it feels breezy, but the sun, I mean, I've got block on, but you can just feel like the sun's still pretty intense despite the nice cool breeze. And when that breeze dies down and the sun is there and the humidity comes in, it can be even that much worse. So be careful not to get burned there and have that impact your Comic-Con. Now, the bag within the bag, outside of the baggies, we always have some sort of hand bag like this with as well. And a lot of times, it's not something we use at theme parks, but this bag or this size of bag, I mean, for Carmel, this is like the main bag that she usually uses during Comic-Con. In the old days of Comic-Con, back in like 2008 or times like that, it's like we always had the big WB bag, and we'd load that up because the booths were giving out t-shirts and hats, and a lot of that stuff's become much lesser these days. It's not that you still can't get some really cool things, and we always do a wrap-up each year of our Comic-Con swag and freebies and stuff, and love all that stuff. But usually we find, especially with having a car not too far away, we can use this and then dump it in the car into another bag, and this can kind of work for our home base or our home away from home. Now, the big thing to me about these types of bags, and this is an old Comic-Con bag from the Anchor Bay booth back in the day, and there's Blood Factory, there's been different versions, but even when we buy bags to kind of supplement these types of bags, my big thing always is that they fit the comics very easily on the bottom. And so like if we're getting freebies of comics, I can bag and board them if I want to keep them, or if we buy them, maybe we head over to a booth and then that they fit in here. And so like these, it really does fit like a glove. And I always talk about, like, I really like that. I'll put the comics obviously face down, and then I can add stuff. I might put my sweatshirt in there to give it some, you know, protection as I throw pins or other things on top of it. But it just becomes a really easy way to kind of carry around, so I'm not having to constantly take my backpack off and put freebies or things like that that people give, or even things that we buy. It's a very light bag. It's easy to navigate with that. Again, on the backpack, it's a thinner backpack. I mean, it's not super thin, but it's also not super thick. So it's just generally trying to take up as little room moving those things around as we are on the floor there. Now that leads us, we talked about picking up, you know, freebies. One thing that does happen is the poster giveaways, or sometimes, you know, Hasbro will be giving out like 8x10 type little things. They've done autograph signings at the Hasbro booth before. We're getting 8x10 again. That's where that acrylic that I showed earlier can come in hand there as one way to kind of capture these things and keep them safe. Another way for the floor is the poster tube. Now, poster tubes, your mileage can really vary on them, and I think we have like 40 poster tubes at home. A lot of, you know, things like Hulu and Fox and all these things from Comic-Con. Many times over the years, Comic-Con at the Hulu booth, they're handing them out in the mornings there, or the Fox animation stuff, whatever, and you grab them. The thing about them though, because of the edges, they're cheaper, obviously, as free giveaways. A lot of times the posters in them, as you're carrying them, kind of bang. And I hadn't realized that in the earlier years, and it was many, many years later, and it's like, you know what, a lot of these posters are not in as great a shape when we get home from Comic-Con. So we have shifted over to using something like this with the screw-on lid there. You can get these right now on Amazon like 2 for $30. So they're very, very cheap overall for what you're getting there. It keeps things, so far in our years of using these, we have found them to be very reliable in terms of like keeping things safe and nice. So sometimes what we'll do is we'll still pick up the freebie ones on the floor and use them for, you know, that morning run around the floor grabbing stuff. And then as we get back to the car, condense them into this, and definitely as we get back to the room. Now again, for us, our home base is the car after, you know, our stuff on the floor, and then we're driving home when the con's done. So those of you that are flying out, you have much different priorities in those cases. You have to really plan things differently. This may be too cumbersome to worry about, or you may be shipping back. Another thing that probably isn't going to work for people that are going to have to fly, but for us, people that are driving, we always keep these types of acrylics too, these larger ones. In the old days, these were nice back when the Warner Brothers booth would do these like poster signings, and you would win Game of Thrones or The Big Bang Theory or Legends of Tomorrow Tomorrow or the Flash, Green Arrow, or Arrow I should say, whatever it might be. These were big enough that they could easily fit in there, and then we could take them home and keep them kind of in a nice spot, because we didn't want to roll those up necessarily. These days, honestly, it doesn't come in quite as handy. I haven't really used it all that much in the last few years there at Comic-Con, but we still bring it with, we keep it in the car, and that's one of those things, again, with the luxury of being able to drive, that we can keep the car a little bit more loaded down than somebody that's going to be flying in. So just something to weigh in there. So as I said, again, this is just our general of what we bring to the floor. We do these videos to help anybody that it might be helpful with, or to entertain. Like I said, those of you that are out there, we really appreciate the support over the years, that you're like, I just like watching the videos because it means it's Comic-Con season. We get a lot of people that say, yeah, I know how to pack my bag. I don't really need info on that. I just like eating dinner with my family and thinking about Comic-Con. And so we hope, for whatever reason you tuned in, that this video is useful in that way. That being said, please jump in the comments, social media, wherever, and add to it. There's things that maybe you bring that you find really essential that we don't. For example, you'll notice I didn't talk about like a fan. A lot of people like the neck fans and things. We've carried like the little hand fans at times. I personally don't really use the fans, not at theme parks, not at conventions, so it seems disingenuous for me to be like, and here's my neck fan that I bring, because I don't really use it. I've always found them kind of cumbersome, but some of you out there love them, and so go ahead, add that in the comments and be like, hey, here it is, and you can get them on Amazon or whatever it might be, because we just want everybody to have the best time possible, and that really comes through, I think, a community of people helping out, not just us doing a video with just what we do. So that being said, we do have many more videos to come up this Comic-Con season. So today we're going to be doing another live that will already have been out. We're trying to do our weekly live shows as well, so you can tune in there. We have our podcast channel as well, which will have tons of podcasts, so please follow along with us. All the social media channels, you can find us at Parks and Cons. That said, we hope you have a great Comic-Con 2025. We hope you have a great prep season for Comic-Con 25. So until next time, we'll see you in line somewhere.